Sufia asks me on Quora, when you trade register your logo, so you also put your slogan with it. I'm Andrei Mincov, the founder of Trademark Factory, and here's my answer to Sufia's question. Let me start by rephrasing this a little bit just to make sure I understand the question correctly. My understanding is what you're asking is this. When you register your logo as a trademark, is that a good idea to put not just the logo in your trademark application, but the logo and the slogan together in a single application? That's how I'm reading the question, and that's the question I'm going to answer. No. Ideally, you don't want to combine the logo and the slogan into a single trademark application. It will save you a little bit of money on the services and on the fees and the government fees, but in the end of the day, instead of having two really strong trademarks, you may end up with one that's really weak. Remember, the trademark is never the goal. The trademark is a means to an end, right? It's either about building an asset or about giving you the legal tools to stop others from copying you. Of course, sometimes it's both, but it's never about you getting that certificate and like, oh, I got a trademark, that's great. So you can't really do everything you could do if you had those brands separately trademarked in terms of enforcement. Because if somebody were to come up with somewhat similar image, but without the tagline, they could get away with that. Or similarly, if somebody copied your slogan, maybe change it a little bit, but it would be still recognizable, but used a completely different imagery with it, again, you'd have a hard time enforcing that combined trademark against them, which is why we always recommend, if you can, file them as two separate trademarks. Now, there are two exceptions. The first exception is the budget. If all you got is the funds to file one trademark application, and you hope that very soon as your business grows, you would go back and file those brands as separate trademarks, that could be a viable strategy. It's better to file a trademark that covers something than to file nothing, right? The combined application may, cover you in 60-70% of the cases, which is still much better than zero. So if all you can do is do one as a combined mark. Nothing wrong with that. Just know that it's a temporary solution and that you will have to upgrade your trademarking portfolio to separate trademarks pretty soon. The second reason to file it as a combined mark has nothing to do with your budget. It has everything to do with registrability of the separate elements. So if the logo by itself is not really trademarkable because there may be something similar, or if the tagline by itself is not really trademarkable because somebody else has got something kind of similar, or maybe you have those problems with both the name, the logo, the tagline. So sometimes putting everything together makes it distinctive enough for you to get away with it and actually have that trademark. So that could also be the strategy for you to use to get your trademark registered. But this is something that, like I said, is an exception, and it's an exception that you want to discuss with those who are going to be working on your trademark application just to make sure that it makes sense. So separate the two. Rule of thumb, ideally you want to file them as separate trademarks. If you can't, then you have to really look hard into, are you doing it because you don't have enough budget, in which case look at it as a temporary solution, or are you doing it because otherwise the separate elements would not be trademarkable? Now, I hope this answers Sufia's question, and if you've got some questions for me, write them down in the comment below and I'll be happy to answer them. And if you haven't yet, subscribe now, and I'll see you in the next video.